Let's test this. Let's test this. I'm gonna check to make sure the stream is live. I have a new microphone, I have a new headset, and I have a new computer camera, so I don't have to use my camera that I use when I'm out and about. I'm going to pull the stream up on my phone right now so that um, I'm gonna pull it up so I can read chat on my phone. Give me a minute, give me a minute. Studying some jujitsu, some jujitsu at nighttime. I'm gonna pull it up so I can read chat on my phone. There we go, there we go. All right. Let's work some yeah, let's watch some Marcelo Garcia stuff.
I'm sure everybody understand like how strong is the seatbelt. The seatbelt you have like the chance to finish the mat. You not only have the chance to finish the mat, but the person doesn't really see the attack comes. You know, it's different than the mount that you're looking and you have to the hands keep coming. But when you have a seatbelt, whenever the person like get a little bit distracted, try to get out, the hands can just kind of swing and get on the neck. So we know that how important is the seatbelt. But we have to understand like when we start losing the seatbelt, when the seatbelt starts to become loose and off, and then you have to adjust because we need to hold, we need to condition arms to maintain the position. But if you start losing, you cannot just be holding the position. You start losing, then you start just holding, and then suddenly you start holding the person on the bottom, the person's on top, and you just holding that. So we have to realize when the move start getting a little bit off, and you have to fix a little bit. You know? Can you come, Scott? Can you go on your knees? So guys, I must have my chest right on the line of his shoulder. And my head can measure like with his head, and I don't want his head fast. I want to stay like this. But any moment, like we spinning, can you roll? Get on top, get on top. No, no, come back. Just keep rolling. Okay. Go back. So any moment we roll, getting low, and I realize like I'm getting a little bit off. I don't want to just squeeze, and then the person just kind of find his way. So any moment we start to scramble, he tries scramble, he tries get out of the position, and we keep following him. And he realizes the move starts to kind of like slip out. You're not really like flat on him. You start to come out of the position. We cannot just be holding. We have to kind of like adjust. You gotta catch up because probably he got a little bit ahead of this spinning. So I have my hook inside. I have one hook. I was fighting to put the second hook. I have this, and I go a little bit like off. If I stay, if I just hold a little longer, maybe I'm gonna hold the position until I get tired, and then he'll come out. So I'm not gonna wait to me to get tired. I start to realize that I'm losing the position. I'm losing the position. I'm losing the position. So before his shoulder starts to come out, I need to get on top. But I cannot do something like this. I was like, I'm just get myself on top because I need to get on top. I get on top and I lose the position, the person recover. If he has a good guard, he recover. If he has a good wrestling, he get back on his feet and I'm just lose the whole position. So I have the seat belt, but I'm a little bit off to the side. His back is not covered. The seat belt is not doing what I'm supposed to do. So I have to get on top quick. When I say on top quick, like I have to like climb on top without take too long, without kind of break the position. So I have to climb with my seat belt without have to release anything, without have to post my hand, without have to post my elbow. So it's most like my leg rocking, my knee pulls. If my hip is on the floor, it's hard to climb. If just my foot is on the floor, it's hard to push up. I need to put my knee quick on the floor. At the same time that I continue with the seatbelt. So I have this. this knee pulse. And this knee pulse, because sometimes you get on top and then he throws you back. And then you get on top, and then he throws you back. So if you don't get on top and kind of like ground your weight, because that's
Shallow
what
hook
that
to
knee
control the back.
does. That knee is not just gonna post over there, but fighting
I
so you
like
don't fall
the
back
shallow hook
again. So
idea. It's cool.
I'm fighting to get on top, and that knee has to get on the ground, has to be grounded, has to be kind of given the base to be on top. And everything to cover his back. His back cannot be like loose and moving and spinning and getting off of my control. So same thing. I have the seat belt, I'm a little bit on the side, rock your leg, knee comes out, and they cover. But all these without open up this. Everything kind of like, and keep tight. If I have to keep rolling, if I have to keep chasing his back, I have more chance to maintain the back than before, you know. Let's start on your knees, guys, and you just get a little bit shift to the side. You already have the grip, but you get on top without open up and without pulse your hand. Only use the momentum of your leg and the base of your knee. Let's try, guys. I was trying to find a place and an angle that everybody can see what I was trying to describe. But that move can kind of like slide off either way. Sometimes you can be too high and then your hips on the floor. Sometimes you can be falling on the floor, but then your knees still on the floor. So depending on how off you're going. Like I'm feeling, I don't even have to touch my shoulder, my head on the floor. Like just a little bit. Like I know I need to just kind of come up on top. Sometimes you can really feel the ground. He has his elbow, but if his elbow is not on the floor, I can really feel the floor. So everything kind of slightly change a little bit, but the most important, his shoulder cannot come out. His shoulder cannot come out. I need to keep a lot of like pressure on this shoulder. Don't let this shoulder kind of come out. So and now, if you get to one point over here, guys, the person start turn to roll, and then you see opportunity of the neck. You know, he's gonna try and move. If you see opportunity of the neck, just go forward. And you're not necessarily gonna have his back, but if you have his neck from his back, you're gonna be good. So for example, if I go on top and he starts, and I got his neck over here, I don't really need the seat belt. I don't really need to kind of like, not even like I go to a full choke.
I never do this and consider Marcelo as one of the best of all time. He's probably right and I'm wrong. I always feel like people can keep rotating to get out of this style of choke, but I'm probably wrong. I'm missing something on the control that he knows that I don't.
And I got his neck over here.
Go back a
If I
couple
go on
more.
top and he starts, and I got his neck over here, I don't really need the seat belt. I don't really need to kind of like, not even like I go to a full choke, but as long like his back doesn't go on the mat, I'll be good. So if you see the neck open, especially this neck, he's gonna try roll. If you have a chance to get on his neck, just lock his neck. So after you get on top and the person start roll, you see the neck open, just go forward. So I have this. So I have this, and I feel, just go forward. And then this.
I think he's doing it in the transition. I don't think he's not really just going from the seatbelt to that. It's because the other person's like stretching themselves out and then trying to put their back on the mat preemptively to stop your secondary hook, and he's just stretching under their neck.
10, I don't.
Not something I do, something I'll have to write down so that I can try for next time. So, first video was a success. Let's watch some back control stuff from
I
Marcelo.
wish to keep me like on the side and I have my arm on top of the shoulder. But if he decides to go to the other side, I believe he has more chance to escape. But once he has a chance to escape, he try more escape and then he may be opening more his neck. So this side, I don't think he's going to escape that easy, but maybe he's going to just protect himself a little bit better because he can't escape that easy. On the other side, sometimes he protects himself, but then when he tries escape, he exposes himself a little bit more. but I have to make sure his head doesn't touch the floor, right? So even he try to put the head over there, I need to keep my head underneath, right? And then I go there. I don't think like we can start the choke with two hands connect. I don't think we start with that. Usually you get one hand and then you figure out to get the other hand, or maybe you get one hand and then you figure out to go the other hand. So most of the time you have to at least get one hand inside. So the top hand hold the hand on that side, and the bottom hand hold the hand of the same side. So just keep that, right? We have this. So you hold the person's hand. You don't necessarily need to hold the wrist. I even like to hold his hand so he cannot really grab my wrist that easy. So I kind of hold his hand so he doesn't have that much like a grip. So I'll try to hold a little bit close the hand. And then whenever I see his neck is a little bit open, I go there and just kind of like sneak up and get this hand. But it's very common. As soon as I put this hand, he puts that same hand on top of my hand, right? So as soon as I release this one, I go to his neck, but the hand comes quick. So I have to get used to, I don't think I can finish if he has his hand. I can try, but I think this hand's gonna be strong. So I'm gonna have to release this one and go over here. But if I release it and take too long, soon his both hands definitely gonna break through the hand of his neck. So once I do this hand, he makes the hand, I have to go the other one and block the second hand. That hand comes, I have to block this one. At the same time, that kind of like brush off the first hand. And then I manage to connect the second hand quick. Usually, if I have the hand on the shoulder, I'll just go to straight. So just like this straight. If your hand maybe went a little bit deeper and went a little bit like on his like a backbone on his shoulder blade over there, now he can go behind. If my elbow is closer to his chin.
I never have success in this battle. That's why I always trap people's arms when I'm playing this game. I either stretch people out and shoot into their neck kind of violently, or I play the arm trap game. I never feel like I'm able to do a one-for-one game like Marcelo is here. But maybe it's because I'm not using my secondary hand like he is to swat away both hands at the same time. I think usually I pull my bottom hand out and then I just try to snake the choke in, and he pulls his secondary hand out and he starts swatting at both hands until he can lace his full rear naked choke. So something I'll have to try, but I've never had success at this. Also, other than arm trap sequence and the last couple of years of doing like the whole stretching people out, I've never been adept on people's back. So something else to think about for myself.
Both hands quick. Like just straight. If your hand maybe went a little bit deeper and went a little bit like on his like a backbone on his shoulder blade over there, now he can go behind. If my elbow is closer to his chin, so now I can go to a rear neck choke, right? But most of the time, if I do this hand and it's like just on the shoulder blade on the shoulder over here, I can just move straight back. Like, but let's get used to this. I'm control. I'm waiting. Maybe now he's trying to go to the other side. That'll be a good time. As soon as my hand makes to his neck, I have my finger digger right on his shoulder blade, and I make sure he's not pulling my arm down. But I'm feeling the pressure. He's pulling, but I found a good grip on his shoulder blade. I don't think he's gonna break this. But now, as soon as I release this, I know the hand's gonna come. So I block the hand at the same time that I scrape kind of both hands. And I'm not letting him grab my hand. I'm not letting him grab this hand now, because I'm probably not gonna be able to finish. So after I scrape one, after I block the second one, I scrape the first one, and I go straight.
That's the part I don't do.
And keep every.
He's like double scraping. I think I'm usually too focused on one-for-one fighting, and he's trying to use one hand to quickly swat away both. And yeah, it's not what I do, but something I'll have to try. Like I said,
Everything tight.
he is the GOAT, so I am wrong.
Go to the choke. I don't think you guys can. You don't have to squeeze too hard in there, because I want you guys just focus on the hand taps. You know, not that much in a rush, because he just opened a little bit. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm just gonna just step through. You know, step through his neck. One little opening, that's enough. Take a little bit, you know, and then he open a little. That's enough. But I know his hand is coming. So that's I'm not in a rush, and I'm controlling the time. So he's holding, hold. I know he's resisting. So whenever I feel I'm ready, I release this one. I start fighting that one. Start fighting that one quick. So I'm kind of based on controlling the time. I'm not even racing that much. I feel like since I'm controlling the time to start, I'm ahead. But here I'm gonna release, and I don't have his neck. So now I'm gonna have to gain time to open this, and then his hands probably is gonna make through my hand, and I have to pull this out and go back to the other hand. So he tucking. I get here. He makes to my hand. Before he pulls, I come with this hand, start scrape this one, and then he's gonna go with the other hand. I push the other hand, and I
I
keep digging.
guess I don't bite on rear nakeds fast enough for this to be effective for me. So hand fighting with the secondary hand or the underhook hand. Yes, Daddy. It's funny. Um, Something I'll have to work on. Marcelo is one of the goats, and he's known for his back stuff. So back attacks, sequences, back chokes, taking out gigantic people. So definitely something I'll have to watch out for. Let's see. Let's watch some arm trap stuff by him. Somebody post his instructional they're not supposed to? Or did he post that and they just called it arm trap? I don't know. I thought he had a good video with Bernardo Faria that I saw when I was a lower belt that I'd like to watch again. It's a that's a fun photo. I wonder if that's AI generated. I swear he's got a thing with Bernardo Faria. There we go.
Okay, guys, I'm here today for Marcelo
It's a
Garcia, a
long
huge
one.
honor for me. And Marcelo's school in New York City, which is my favorite place in the world. I live here and I trained here from
Let's get
2013
jump
to
to the technique here.
2017. Here's where I get.
So I believe in this control, Bernard. You can be very strong. You can be taller than me. You can have a very big arms. But I believe when I have the back control, your energy is not so efficient like more than mine. I feel like we're more even over here. And obviously, you don't know when I'm gonna attack you. So I believe to have a good seatbelt, my hand under your armpit is gonna cover the hand that is gonna do most of the job, what is choking and trying to make you tap. So from here, the hand underneath your armpit is gonna protect the hand on top of your shoulder. And then I wanna control this. Anytime I see I open, because I can see you, but I don't think you can see me. So anytime I see I open, my hand is just gonna go to your neck. But to this point over here, I don't wanna just go to your neck, and you can always go to my hand. So I have to make sure like my hand goes to your neck, but I get my hand like I stuck somewhere. And then I'm gonna look for like your shoulder blade. I'm gonna look for like that bone on the back of your shoulder that I don't think nobody's gonna feel that, but everybody will know like we all have like that shoulder blade over here that we can always like a dig a finger over there. So when I see I open on your neck, Bernard, I'm gonna make the attack, but my hand has to be like stuck because I know once you go there, you're gonna try to pull my hand. And before you pull my hands, because now my hand is stuck, I can go over there and just kind of peel your hand off. And when I peel your hand off, I can replace my grip, and now we're gonna have a really good choke. And I don't have just like a straight choke.
An interesting thing to think about is when I'm in the gi, I do a lot of that grip breaking where I use like the palm, like right here in the palm of my hand to help strip like spider grips off my sleeves. And I do it in close guard also. People have grips on me. If I don't like the grip, I use my palm on their knuckles. Seems like Marcelo does it on the back. This is not something I ever do. So in the last 3 videos, he's talked about this. Definitely something I'm gonna have to add to my game.
always do this, and then go on my hand and pull, and then I can dig a little bit deeper. Depend like how deep went the first hand. If the first hand went kind of deeper, so my elbow is much closer to your chin. So now I know like I can go to the rear neck choke. But if my hands go deep, but not deep enough to my elbow, like to get close to your chin. So now I'm definitely looking for like a hand, like a gable grip, hand to hand, and then I can go to like straight choke. But this is just the beginning. I'm control your back, I'm waiting for open, and I can go to your neck. But sometimes, especially if the person is technical, his hand's gonna be moving fast. His hand is never gonna let my hand go to your neck. So that's why, Bernardo, now I start making my hook works on my favor. Now I start make my hook works like against your arms. So imagine like if I have a chance, this leg will control the arm, or the other leg will control the other arm. So remember, when you fall to one side, Bernardo, this leg is stuck, but this one is free to free your arm. So if you fall to the other side, this leg is stuck, but this leg is free. So it's not only flexibility, because I don't have that much flexibility behind, but I can work to get your hands like stuck. The same way how I trap this arm, I can even trap the other arm too. And then I will end up just like with the neck exposed. This comes apart like why I don't do like a figure four on your back. Because I don't want to just control you. I feel like if I do a figure four, if I ever have a long leg to do a figure four too, that's another reason why I cannot do a figure four. I don't want to have my legs like just stalling over there. I don't want to just have my legs control it.
You want me to do the breakdown right now? Because I will. Hello? Streaming? I'm streaming. Okay. Yeah, I'll do this right now.
A shot off of that or something if Imanari overreacts to it.
I think Imanari's up against the cage to try to avoid this. Marcelo on top is a problem. His top pressure is next.
Marcelo hit this little pick single, and if you notice this is I fought a couple really good half guard passers, and every single time I fight a really good half guard passer, they do the exact same thing Marcelo's doing right here, which is he's putting heavy pressure on the upper part of the body, but he twists his hips towards the other person's, or the knees rather, and then he drops his hip to the floor. Um, People don't talk about this often, but in half guard on bottom, you're trying to frame so that you have space on top of this knee, meaning this knee that he's basically locking this triangle choke with for his half guard. If you let your opponent get on top of the knee, they're going to pass your guard basically no matter what. So Marcelo does this every time he passes people's half guard. It's one of his best things. As he's pressure passing around the corner, he gets on top of them in half guard. He beats the knee shield and he gets on top of this bottom thigh, drops his hip, and then his knee tucks underneath. It basically stretches your body out. When you play guard, you want to be in a little ball. And every time I see Marcelo do this, he forces the ball open by stretching that bottom leg out. So we'll keep watching here.
Clear his knee line. He's going to flatten him out chest to chest.
See how he stretched him out twice there, stretched him sideways.
That's a very experienced thing for Marcelo to do.
And once his body's fully flat, he starts creeping that foot up, walking heel toe, heel toe. Imanari's doing a good job with that lockdown.
But it's not an easy task. Push on Marcelo's face to create some space. He needs to create a frame. He needs to create some space between he and Marcelo. Defensively, you
see that knee's tucking underneath that hip again? Even the announcers are saying he needs to create space because the hip is already on him.
trying to get past that leg, pushing down on that thigh.
When Marcelo steps that left leg up, that's really taking away Imanari's ability to do
Knee
much.
is still tucked under the hip.
He has to plant his
And when he's not tucked under the hip, he has Imanari fully flattened out, fully on his back, both shoulders, both hips touching the mat here. Very important during half guard passing, especially no-gi.
Impossible for Imanari to do that. Now that top pressure, he's getting that arm high. It's going to be an issue. I'd like to see Marcelo use his right foot to peel his knee out. Imanari has a lockdown. Nice,
Also, let me
nice.
know, because I just changed my equipment. Let me know if anything's too loud, if the video's too loud, or my mic's too loud, my mic's not loud enough, whatever it may be.
That was beautiful.
To escape that lockdown, he used the other leg, used his right leg to clear that lockdown. Very impressive. Now he's pushing
Using
down.
his hand to push the knee down and clear his knee line. Once he clears the knee line, the back.
See, the only reason he can do this is because he already has Imanari flat, because he already tucked that knee under the top of that thigh.
Take is going to be available.
Yeah, Imanari keeps basically rechambering that lockdown guard, so you
Look at
see
his
a
foot.
lot of leg fighting here.
His right leg, he uses that right leg to lift up Imanari's lockdown. The lockdown is essentially a way to hold somebody in half guard. And the way that Marcelo just cleared that, write that down, take a picture of that one, because that was nice.
He steps that left leg up. If he keeps that leg stepped up, he can't use the lockdown again. And now he's looking to, there we go. Now he's in side control. Now this is an issue for him. Oh, Imanari did a good job recovering.
It's good guard recovery by Imanari there. But every single time he forces half guard, yeah, same. I was going to say, every time he forces half guard, he's not putting in a butterfly hook or a knee shield. And he kept going back to the lockdown, which to me is like a losing battle. The lockdown's a fine thing to do, but you have to use it to attack. And because Marcelo was already on top of him, crushing, Imanari had no underhook. So the lockdown was just like a last-ditch effort. And every time he got back to half guard, he wasn't putting in a knee shield. He wasn't putting in a butterfly hook. So Marcelo ended up eventually backstepping around all the way into side control.
Need a belly, he will look to go mount. If he goes mount, there's a good chance Imanari may turn his back. Imanari squeezing the head. That will do nothing to Marcelo right there. Make him a little uncomfortable, not too much. The knee on belly is more uncomfortable than the head squeeze for sure.
Tom Garcia hasn't missed a beat whatsoever. You would never think that he's been away from competition for over 13 years.
No, he's in total control of this match. I'd like to see Imanari get his knee back in, reframe, try to use the lockdown to be a little bit more offensive rather than just defend. The lockdown is a very defensive position. You could.
It's pretty obvious Marcelo wants to go north-south. He keeps staring at Imanari's top thigh here. And he wants to forearm block the thigh and circle the north-south because obviously he's famous for his north-south chokes.
Tom, you're thinking that Imanari needs to take his left leg and slide that knee across the belly to regain that guard?
Yeah, I would like to.
Yeah, see there? He just pushed his arm down towards that thigh because he really wants to. He's pummeling inside. There he goes. So he blocked the thigh right there, and then he immediately circled because he looked at it twice. So usually when people telegraph this all the time, wrestlers telegraph it, in jiu-jitsu they telegraph it. They'll look at what they want. And even Marcelo, the GOAT, he did it twice there. So I knew once he did it twice that he was going to forearm block and circle the north-south, and he did. And now he's here. And once you're in north-south, you have to underhook and flare people's arms away from and off of their chest. If people can keep basically their hands both like close to their sternum, close to their heart, it's very, very difficult to really open up for anything because you can't north-south choke, you can't kimura, you can't do anything. You have to either separate their arms to the mat or you have to get their hands low to expose their neck. It's either the arms have to go to the mat so that you can look to elevate one of them for an armbar or a kimura, or you can pin them and then attack, or you need to get their hands low on the body like Marcelo does for north-south chokes.
Head is very low, so it'll be hard for Imanari to throw.
So he's got that underhook and he's crawling. See what I mean? He's slowly separating the arms from the chest. So he forced himself inside. Marcelo is the best person in the world at doing this. Nobody else attacks him north-south like Marcelo does. And I picked this up watching Marcelo fight. Every time he gets to north-south, the first thing he does is start punching his wrist inside between whoever's on bottom, whatever their hand connection is. He punches his wrist inside, and then he forces that either underhook or overhook. And then he starts driving really heavy towards people's legs with his shoulders once he has this inside position. And then from there, he's either able to take a north-south choke or an arm in north-south choke, like I believe he finishes here on Imanari.
So it's making it difficult for. There's nothing offensive on Imanari's side. He's just making it difficult for Marcelo to. Oh, we got an arm.
Now Marcelo in the mat.
Locks up the head and arm choke.
Oh, the setup to that was slick.
That he set up from north-south.
Imanari's ear, and once he does, this could be a huge issue.
Marcelo Garcia looking to cement Masakazu Imanari here at 170.
Once he gets his ear down a little lower, it'll be a very good chance that he'll submit
I think he adjusts this for a while, if I'm not mistaken.
There's a method behind his match.
So he keeps the head and arm
A
position.
little bit more pressure, but you know, it's hard
His
to
head is
question
still on the
anything
side,
Marcelo does.
but his
There's a
arm is
method
still
behind his
wrapped around the
madness.
head and the arm, and he pops off to quote unquote the wrong side. If he wanted to finish the traditional head and arm choke, he would have windshield wiped all the way over to this far side, his left side.
He's doing whatever he's doing.
But he came
for
to
a
the
reason.
wrong side because, again, like I said, he set this up from north-south. He's already inside this wrist, and Marcelo knows this, that if you're in front of the person with the head and arm grip, you've already beaten the wrist. So he knew that he was kind of losing the head and arm choke battle, so he just popped back off into side control neon belly because he still has this. Unfortunately, Imanari still has this secondary arm up, and me personally, I'm not good at arm in north south chokes. I prefer arm in, or I prefer arm out north south chokes, or just the north south choke with just the neck. But Marcelo is the GOAT. So what he does is he's able to use his hip here to help pin this initially and start walking the arm across, I believe, as he wraps the neck. He blocks the hip and he connects his hands and then immediately drops his hip on that elbow, trying to force it across, almost like you'd finish a Darce choke. See how he forced the arm across with his hip right here? So this is very similar. You drop your ribs and your hip on Darce chokes. So basically he's in top north south with like a Darce choke or an arm in guillotine that's like inverted basically.
This is brutal right here.
The submission attempt for Marcelo Garcia. Looking to end the night of Masakazu Imanari.
He has a very strong strangle, Marcelo. This is not comfortable for him.
And then right there, it's hard to see because the knee just blocked, but Imanari slipped the position and Marcelo adjusted to just the neck.
Such heavy top.
So right there, the elbow is already out from Marcelo's rib right here, and Marcelo slid his ribs down onto the neck. This is a very common thing that people do with the guillotine. They're not as adept at it with north-south because people just aren't very good at using north-south. I'm not even good enough to do this against higher level people. I will do this off the front headlock though, where you go for the Darce choke or the anaconda, and as they flare the elbow, you drop onto the regular guillotine. He did the exact same thing from north-south. He had the head and the arm, and then as Imanari slipped the elbow out to defend basically the Darce choke from north-south or the arm in guillotine from north-south, he slid his rib down and he caught it as a secondary effect.
Coming from Marcelo Garcia on.
Now the hips are sprawled and he has the arm in, but now the elbow's out. So he used his ribs to try to force the initial arm in north-south choke with the arm across. And then he allowed him basically to slip the arm out. And now he's fully settled on the arm in north-south choke.
You see Imanari could do this is a very tight strangle right here.
And of course he's Marcelo, so he gets the tap. But all this is derived from him initially. Like, people don't understand sometimes how important inside position, inside gripping is in jiu-jitsu. When he's working into north-south, right around here,
Yeah, I would like to see him take his hands, push on.
this type of stuff. He puts his forearm in the way as a wedge initially, and then he starts working, worked all the way to a head and arm position, working, popped off the head and arm choke, but he still has inside control on this wrist from a minute ago in the match. It's literally been an entire minute. It's 3:18 here and it's 4:15 here. So for an entire minute, he had inside wrist position on this far arm. And then he was able to come off of the head and arm choke.
For a reason.
He came off the head and arm choke, but still has his shoulder on the inside of the wrist position. And then from here, he reaches under the torso, and Imanari bridges a little as Marcelo blocked the hip, and that bridge allowed Marcelo to sneak his hands underneath to configure up this gable grip position, which is where he started initiating this like inverted Darce or this inverted arm in guillotine type position.
Like he might be going north-south.
This is a reverse head.
Very similarly, people will use this from front turtle. Like I said, the north-south game is very similar to the front turtle game, where when you're in front turtle and you try to do hello, Wilhelm. When you're in front turtle and you try to basically do an arm in, head in choke, like the anaconda, like the Darce, where you force their arm across their own throat, when they pull their own arm out from being in front of their own neck, right? You initially pull their arm up next to their ear. When they force their arm out, they want to force their arm out and stretch, because as you stretch your neck and your spine open and you pull your elbow down, it exposes your neck. So here, as Marcelo's going for this, he's crushing the elbow with all of his weight. He does such a good job at this. Look at his hips, his ribs, everything is dropped onto Imanari's outside of the tricep and his elbow here. And as Imanari slips the elbow underneath the hip, Marcelo immediately drops onto just the neck. So right here, he still has it trapped. And now Marcelo circles, and he immediately sprawled.
Top pressure, Tom. Just a smothering pressure coming from Marcelo.
And the elbow's out, and he slipped the elbow. The second the elbow slipped, Marcelo dropped onto just the neck.
Marcelo Garcia on top.
You see Imanari could do nothing. This is a
And interestingly enough, the arm-in north-south choke is harder to finish and harder to escape. Same as the arm-in guillotine. A lot of similarities between the two. The arm-in north-south, harder to finish, harder to escape. The guillotine, it's by itself, is easier to finish, but it's easier to escape than the arm-in guillotine. When you have the arm-in guillotine, you don't have your secondary hand to help you defend. Same thing with this north-south choke.
very tight strangle right here.
And his whole chest, his whole hips, everything was just fully sprawled out. So, yeah, Marcelo is he's obviously the GOAT for a reason. The match starts and he hits like this little picking sweep single type position. And then after the sweep single, they go into half guard where he hip switches and causes a bunch of pressure the entire match, just flattening and straightening his partner out from half guard, making sure they can't use those core muscles to try to hold him there. And eventually he works to side control up to knee on belly, and he continuously blocks the hip with cross faces and blocks the face with his forearm, blocks the hip with his forearm until he can fight inside this top arm. And once he's finally inside the top arm, he goes to mount for the attempted head and arm. He doesn't feel good on it, and then he comes out of mount all the way into this immediate north-south arm-in choke. And as they slip the arm, he drops onto just the neck, and then he's able to connect completely. A good example of this is this. If I hope the video pops up. No, I don't want him teaching the high wrist guillotine, but maybe this is the video. If I'm not mistaken, he hits it at the end of the video live. Let's see here. Let's see. Okay, good. My autism paid off. Ignore the things on the side of the screen here. I was just referencing how in the Marcelo Garcia fight, he used the arm-in, arm-across type position on the north-south choke to force the elbow out. And on the person's defense, which was Imanari pulling his elbow straight down, he sank on just the neck, basically. So when you do things like arm-in guillotines or anaconda chokes, right here, Nicky Ryan laces up an anaconda, and watch the defensive person start to flare his elbow up, and as he flares the elbow, Nicky will go to just attacking the neck. There's the elbow flare, and then Nicky laces in the high wrist guillotine. So now he's not doing an arm-in type choke, he's just wrapping the neck. Very similar to the arm-in north-south choke. You're not really pulling on their arm when you do an arm-in north-south choke. You're still just pulling on the neck. You just wanted the elbow out of your fucking way. And he catches the tap. But he went from a head and arm choke position, and then as the person pulled their elbow down, he was able to lace in just the neck, just like Marcelo did. So, yeah, Marcelo is definitely one of the kings. All these dudes from B Team are obviously like crazy autistic steroided up monsters, and they're all fantastic at jiu-jitsu. But yeah, Marcelo is fucking awesome. His everything that I've ever seen from him, but the arm is still in. Yeah, so the high wrist guillotine is this. This is a new thing that all the B Team guys and all the other guys have taught. So what it is you take your own arm your own wrist. And rather than doing a traditional guillotine where, make sure you guys can see my hands, rather than doing a traditional guillotine where you're just kind of making a fist and then grabbing, and then your supporting hand is lifting your secondary arm. So rather than doing this and just picking up the secondary arm, what the high wrist is you have an arm in guillotine, and then your wrist goes like this, and you almost say the Pledge of Allegiance, where your hand comes up to like your collarbone and your trap, and then your arm in part just reaches across and just kind of hugs your own elbow. So you just kind of squeeze. But this arm just has the neck on its own, but you're still arm in. So now going back to the end of this video again. So right here, he is getting ready to snake his right hand all the way up, and you'll see his fingertips kind of crawl up towards his trap right here. You see how the fingertips kind of crawl up to his own shoulder, but he still has that secondary arm in, and that arm is going to reach all the way underneath. So he's crawling, 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 crawling until they touch up here. And that secondary arm is going to reach over and pull on his own elbow to help finish it. So it's a regular guillotine, but you have the arm in, but instead of connecting your hands, you just say like the pledge, and then you crawl up to your shoulder. And once your hand is on your shoulder, your secondary arm will just grab your own elbow and just squeeze your elbow into your stomach to help finish the position. The B team guys do this, the new wave guys do it. So Gordon, Ryan, John Danaher, they all teach this high wrist style guillotine. But the premise is very similar to that Marcelo Garcia fight where he initially wanted to attack. If I back this clip up a couple seconds, he initially wanted the anaconda, which we see when he locks to his bicep right there. He just did it. So I'll back it up again because he just did it like right as I said it. So right here, they're in this position. He's got the neck right there. Boom. He locks up an arm in, basically rear naked choke, which is going to be the anaconda because it's on the outside. And as the person defends it, he snakes his hand up to that Pledge of Allegiance position. There it is. Boom. He snakes it to the pledge. And then he's just hugging his own elbow, and you got the tap. So, yeah, it's pretty crazy. Yeah, no problem, man. Anytime, anytime. I'm trying to I'm going to be doing it sporadically and randomly, but I'm trying to stream whenever I'm studying and then allow anyone to come in and ask any question they want. I love talking jujitsu, studying jujitsu, all that shit. I'm pretty autistic about it, and all these other people online are very autistic about it. So hopefully I can kind of help bridge the gap for some people on whatever knowledge they need or any questions they have or any video they want me to break down or whatever it is. So if you ever have any questions, especially when I'm live, let me know. If it's ever a random question, you can just post it on any video. I read all the comments, and if you want a video suggestion, I'll make one for whatever technique or whatever. You can even send me footage of you guys' matches, and I'll break them down for that too. So it does not matter to me. Everything's good. Everything's good. But yeah, I was watching, restudying Marcelo stuff. These are all, by the way, I've seen most of the older videos that have been online overall for jiu-jitsu, and I watched them when I was a lower belt, and it's kind of fascinating how as a black belt now I watch the exact same videos and I pick up totally different details, like not even fucking close to the same details. So it's it's interesting that you learn different things based on where you are in your jiu-jitsu career. Um, but yeah, so I've watched some videos and like picked something up and then been like, oh, that was kind of cool, and then I'd rewatch the same video like 3 years later and be like, why did I not see that as a lower belt? God, I'm stupid. So rewatching some of the same videos I know I've seen before, just seeing if I missed any details.
Trap your arms and make your neck exposed. So the idea is like to make my energy, my body, my
Love you,
strength
Marcelo, but I want to
focus
see you do it.
some way. I'll go to one side, then the other side, right? But maybe you have an option, and then maybe you put me on the other side, and that's okay too. So either way, I can always like trap your arm. So if you decide to go on the other side, but imagine like sometime if I push over here, it's not enough to my leg reach you.
Yeah.
I have hands on the same side of your arm, so either side. Sometimes it's just not enough to make this. So it's not low enough to me reach with my ball.
Right.
So sometimes it's necessary to me to grab with the opposite hand. When I grab the opposite hand, I push your arm much lower.
This is what I
So
do.
now it's easy. Maybe you don't have much maybe you don't have much flexibility. Maybe the guy is much taller, your leg is much farther from his arm. So if this doesn't work, I can always go there and go much lower. Those are the options that I feel like we need to look for. But now, imagine like behind, you have only option to tuck in your chin. This arm is isolated, this arm is isolated right here. Now we have to.
So I think the rest of the video he does basically what I do, which is the straitjacket system. I'm curious as to how Marcelo is able to actually get these.
Why I don't do like a figure four on your back? Because I don't want to just control you. I feel like if I do a figure four, if
Let's see.
I ever have a long leg to do a figure four too, that's another.
The like same side arm trap. This it makes no sense to me because your arm always, my arm, I should say, my arm always blocks my own leg for the arm trap on the same side. So I do the straitjacket, which is a cross grip when you're on the back.
Control the other arm.
Yeah.
So remember, when you fall to one side, Bernard, this leg is stuck, but this one's free to free your arm. So if you fall to the other side, this leg is stuck, but this leg is free. So it's not only.
And as a personal preference, I always fall to the underhook side because I play the straitjacket. I don't like falling to the choking side, the choking arm when I'm doing back attack stuff.
Much flexibility behind, but I can work to get your hands like.
Yeah, that makes no sense to me. I'm never able to get that trap. I don't know if it's because of lack of dexterity from myself or what, but that just does not work for me. Don't know what it is
The
though.
same way how I trap this arm, I can even trap the other arm too, and then I will end up just like with the neck exposed, like stuck.
Yeah, like what the fuck? He traps the same, and I've seen him do this in videos before too, by the way. So he's not fucking lying.
The same way how I trap this arm, I can
He did a same side grip and trapped one
even
arm.
trap.
And then okay, I've even taught people this or said this before, but it just doesn't work for me like this against other big fat people like me. I'm like 230, so I fight dudes that are also like 230 in weight. So he's able to same side grip on the choking side, trap, and then same side grip on the
The
underhook
same way
side.
how I trap this arm, I can even
But he pulls the wrist out from the side of the ribs.
trap
See how he pulled it all the way behind Bernardo's back, almost to the side? This is something that I struggle with against really big guys.
the other arm.
But I've watched Marcelo do this in sparring footage where he double traps people's arms
And then I will end
and then he'll just like gable grip their fucking neck and just hip in and they tap because he's got like a double arm trap, which is so fucking humiliating to double arm trap somebody. I've done this to brand new white belts. I've never done this to anyone that knows jiu-jitsu, and I've seen him do this to other black belts, which is fucking crazy.
just like with the neck exposed. This comes apart.
But yeah, man, I don't know what it is. It didn't seem like he had one of those details in it because the rest of the time he goes into the straitjacket system, which I feel like I do like every single day. Um, I wish I knew or could figure out what the special trick is about Marcelo's back attack stuff, but um, you know, it is what it is. Let's see, what other back attack stuff do I want to go over? Let's do some Nicky Rod. Let's see if he has a video, considering he won the $1 million, right?
All right, folks, I want to
Somebody
take a
else.
look at a rear naked choke finish that I started utilizing after watching Nicky Rod. And so basically is I get my body triangle from the back and my choking arm and my reinforcing arm. My choking arm's over the shoulder, this is what I'm going to choke with. My reinforcing arm's under the armpit here. So as soon as I lock up this position, I keep chin over shoulder. I'm nice and tight with my harness here. My right hand, the choking arm, is actually going to go to his lat muscle here. So get a nice tight grip at the lat muscle. From here, I start to throw this arm over to choke him. If he doesn't react to this arm, I'm going to swim underneath the head. Like, let's say he commits.
I swear on my life, there was a video on YouTube. They had a YouTube video. Appreciate the knowledge. Sounds good. Have a good one, man. Anytime you have a question, let me know. Um, I swear there used to be a video on YouTube with Gary Tonin And he taught this. And I think Nicky Rod learned this from John Danaher, and I think Gary Tonin learned it from John Danaher, or Nicky learned it from Gary or whatever. But he would hide his hand in the person's armpit from the back so they couldn't hand fight the rear naked choke. So uh, I think this is fucking crazy.
Okay.
I've never done it to choke with the secondary arm. I think that's kind of smart, but you reach under, grab their lat. He's probably grabbing a handful of armpit and titty here, and then you just choke. I use the armpit grip, to push down on people's hands to fire up into the choke. I've never used it like this. I've also used this armpit style grip where you shoot your arm super deep to like take my secondary hand out and like pull down on their elbow and bicep, which also works.
Switch in head position, and now I can start to lock up this choke here. But most of the time when I get this lat pull here, this is kind of a diversion. So as I start to go across his face with this, both hands commit to here, and this is where I slip my wrist, boom, just like so, and now I can start to work.
Yeah, I like this.
So as soon as I get
learned this from Gary Tonin, but I was curious because I saw this. It said Nicky Rod setup, so just asking him to choke him unconscious. It's fucked. I want to watch another clip of him hitting a rear naked, see if he does something special. Power half to turn him over. I mean, he just fucking, nothing special about that. That motherfucker just opened up his neck. Let's watch another one from Nicky Rod. See if I can pick up any other techniques. No, just an over the face with a body lock and a squeeze. I'm looking for setup tricks and tips here. Crank the face, no defense. I love it. Poor Curtis Blades. I don't blame him. I probably would have tapped too, just saying. Let's watch some other rear naked choke details. Old Chewy video, 8 years old. Let's see if Chewy's got anything for this, huh? For anyone that's watching, you should be not scouring Instagram. And the reason for that is, or for studying jiu-jitsu, and the reason for that is, it's fucking random. And people post shit that doesn't necessarily even work. You've got to study topic by topic. I started off with some Marcelo Garcia rear naked choke stuff, Marcelo Garcia back stuff. I did a little video breakdown on the Marcelo match, but also then working into like Nicky Rod because he has the $1 million shit. I've already known the setups, like none of the videos necessarily helped, but it's all on the same topic of back attack, back control, back shit. So now I'm moving on to Chewy, and I've already taken a couple things from Chewy in his back attack videos, and I don't even remember if I've watched this one or not. But again, sometimes you learn stuff by rewatching the same video you watched as a lower belt. So
questions about this halfback position
here we
I
are.
play in no-gi. I showed this version in the gi. Again, halfback meaning that I've only got one hook in instead of two. So I'm going to do this in the no-gi and show you kind of a couple options that you can use to finish. Now, the halfback, what is it? Well, I'm going from here to here. Now, if it's a tournament, I'll get my points first and then I'll switch off. If it's just submission based, then I'll just go right to this position. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my bottom leg and I'm going to curl it in, and my top leg is going to extend. So it's this. And what this does is this locks his hips in place. So if Chad tries to turn his hips to the ground, right, he can't. He can go this way, but he can't go back towards me. And again, him trying to get his shoulders to the mat, that's going to be the thing that I want to prevent, okay? Now, my hand's under, and I'm here and here. What I'm going to do to play this position is I'll come up to my elbow and drive forward with my chest, okay? And this allows me to do something that I think is very important, and that's take my hand out of the mix. A lot of
I've never seen this taught by anybody except Chewy, I have taken this technique from Chewy. I don't even think this is the video I learned it from, but him showing it in multiple videos just kind of goes to show that this is something that he has ingrained in his jiu-jitsu game, something that is very in depth for him and very much a part of his game. Um, People that like to drive on top of me, meaning bridge backwards while I'm on their back, this is one of my favorite things to do to them. Why, when they bridge backwards, do I like to do this? Because as they bridge onto me, I put in one butterfly hook behind their knee to turn them and make them face the side that I want them to face. So as they bridge backwards onto me, like a white belt, I put in a singular butterfly hook behind the knee and I extend and twist them until they land in this position where their hips are kind of twisted up. And while their hips are twisted up, I will do this exact thing. And I learned it 100% from Chewy. None of it's original, and I love it. It's great. So
people try to go for the rear naked choke, like out here. Again, I'm fighting the grips, but my hand's here. So what I want to do is I want to bring this arm out. So now it's back here, so he can't really get a good grip. And a lot of times I find that people almost forget, because I'll have this hand and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with it in a second. I'll be out here fighting for different grips, and they'll kind of forget that the arm's here. And this
again, if
allows me
anyone's
to come
watching,
in
you can ask.
and go for the
Again, if anyone's watching, you can ask any question. I'll answer any question. How to do any technique, any whatever. I'm just gonna keep pressing on with my own studying until somebody asks a question. So
choke right off the bat. And this is, guys, I talk about this in my grip fighting series that I have on my website. You kind of want to fly under the radar with your grips, right? You don't want to bring the grips into the play until it's time, right? Because again, if I have my choking arm right here the whole time, he knows that it's there. But if I bring it out and I'm fighting with stuff, he might sometimes forgets that it's there. And then right when we need to bring it into the mix, boom, I come in for my choke, okay? So from here, I've got my position. I've got my standard harness seatbelt grip. I come up and push forward. I'm leaning into him. Okay, now from here, what I will do most often, especially in the no-gi, and it actually works better for no-gi for the rear naked choke, is I'll take my hand, and a lot of you guys are gonna have their chins tucked, and I'll take my hand and I'll literally like.
what a fucking beautiful example of something that I don't do, that I didn't pick up the first time I saw either this video or the last time he taught it, whatever it may be. This video is 8 years old, so whatever it is. I've seen this technique before. I just talked about how I use it. I don't do this part of the detail. What I usually do is I connect my hands down low by their shoulder. I connect my feet. I cross my feet underneath the hip and the leg and the thigh right here. And I hip into them as hard as I can, stretching their whole spine out. And once their spine is like bowed backwards, like in this direction, I come off my elbow and I dive through a naked choke. I don't remember him showing this. He probably did, and I'm retarded. And this is why I rewatch videos that I've already seen before, is picking up details that I know I fucking missed the first time because I'm stupid.
Take the middle of your palm right here, right here, and I will palm his chin up. And in some cases, I'll take this arm out. If he's really fighting me here, I'll take this one out and pull under here and grab. And then from here, we take this hand, shoot it through. And notice how I did that. I didn't just I'll show you in a second. I really go through with my elbow and get to the position, and I can go for my rear naked choke. Now there's a couple things, couple chokes I like to play from this position. One, you've got your basic rear naked choke. You've got your basic gable grip here. And if the person gets a grip right here, another one you can do is you can go under, roll the wrist here, cup the shoulder, and extend. Okay, so let's look at these three again. So again, we're in our half back position. I'm kicking up with this leg. I'm going up to my elbow, driving forward. Okay, again, I'll try to play around this, open up the chin. If he fights too much while his arm's in the underarm.
So the chin tilt, the fire inside. Damn, he's just talking shit on his brother. Yeah, the chin tilt push. That's a cool way. Something I don't do. That I should. Let's watch a little more Chewy. And then I'm gonna bounce pretty soon. I wanted to get like an hour of studying in while I was streaming it, just in case anybody wanted to watch the stream or tune in for it and ask questions. Now I studied for like an hour earlier on a random topic, and now I'm doing back attack stuff. So here we are.
What's up, guys? We got a question from our buddy Armando the Butt Scooter. If you guys haven't watched that video, I'll put at the end his butt scooting question. But he says that
Exarmando.
he's having trouble controlling the back and maintaining the back, and he's wondering if there's some tips on one, how to control it, of course, but also how to transition when they're escaping or while they're escaping. So the hooks here and have a good chest to back sort of connection, and Chad can move around.
Let's see if I can pick up any details on this bad boy.
In position and eventually regain the back control. So understand that that's really important. Okay, like the back to chest, that's more important than the hooks. The hooks are like the finishing touch, but
I don't know if I said this. I usually don't sit and watch jiu-jitsu videos like this though. I study, but I'm a giga ADHD person, and only with jiu-jitsu am I able to discern and figure things out just by scrolling through the timeline with my mouse. But I do this all the time, and occasionally I'll listen to people talk. But usually I spaz through videos at like 10 times the speed of whatever the video is or faster, where I look through the timeline and I just slowly see. And then if they're in a position that I'm familiar with or I have questions about or whatever, I'll go to that spot and watch it. But for the sake of the streams, I'm trying to watch the videos all the way through.
That's the most important. For tournament reasons, you guys might have to go double hooks, but oftentimes I don't even play double hooks, right? Like most often when I play the back mount, I do something different. One, I call it a half back. So I have a lot of transitions, a lot of techniques from this position, but I play 1, 2 with the hooks. The reason I do this is I know that Chad wants to be able to flatten his body out, right? So my goal then is to get this going. If I do this, it makes it hard for his hips to turn. Now, his back can get down, so that's the second part. Now, when I play this position, I don't lean casually back forward. I'm up like this most often. So what am I doing, right? If I know that you're my person, Chad. If I know my partner wants to bring his chest back to the mat, I want to keep him forward, right? If you think about a lot of the things you do in jiu-jitsu, you're trying to prevent that person from being able to do what they want to do, right? If you think about, come out for a second, lay on your back. Like for you guys that play like a slice through, cut through game, when we go for our cut-through pass of some sort, right, and we grab this tricep, what are we doing with that thing? Well, if Chad wants to be effective from preventing this, he needs to be able to turn, right? So if I pull this up, he can't put his shoulder down, right? So I know that he wants to be able to turn towards me. He needs to be able to bring the shoulder down. I'm not letting him do that, okay? So use that same idea here, when we're playing this back mount position. Think about ways to prevent your partner from doing what they want to do. And so in most cases, I know that people want to get their back to the mat, so I play half back. I go under and then up on my elbow here. And the reason I do this also is now, if you guys have watched a couple of my videos, this takes the hand out of the mix, and now I can bring that sucker in when I go for the choke a little bit more easy because it's not laying in here in front, okay? Let's look at this from a couple of positions here. So again, we're here in the back. Just so you can see, this is double hooks, right? Here's the half back. I go under the knee and I extend my leg. Okay, it makes it kind of hard for them to get out. If he does kick his leg through again, I'm not really worried about it. I'll just re-go in, or I'll go back to hooks and then come back into it when I feel it. And again, I'm coming up to my elbow and driving up onto my chest, or pushing my chest into him to make it hard for him to get his back to the mat. And I've shown this before, but he gets his hips free maybe, but I still got the chest to back connection. I can just come up right here and then retake the back mount again, right? That's the optimal situation as far as if you're back into it. Come up. Now, the worst one, the one that maybe is going to be not so optimal for guys, his shoulders down, you lost the back. You don't have it anymore. You do not have back mount. It's going to be really difficult for me to hip shovel my way under there and pull him up. I've lost this position. So you've got to be smart enough to say, okay, I lost it. So what I'm going to do typically is I'm going to kick those legs out and come up. And there's a really cool arm here. If I am too hell-bent on holding this back mount, I'm squeezing, Chad gets his shoulders down.
And then he just shows how to get to mount. All right. Well, as always, if anyone has any questions, you can put them on any of my videos, comments, concerns, whatever, video requests, technique requests, whatever it may be. And thanks, guys. I'm out of here. Got to eat some food, drink some more alcohol. Peace.